I want to share with you a pound cake that my Aunt Jessie made every time family or anybody was coming or she was going somewhere. She would take that chocolate pound cake. And I made it so much on the bag lady. Now, Aunt Jessie frosted hers, but when I made it for the bag lady, because it was going to be a little messy trying to package the cake with icing. So I didn't put an icing on that, and people loved that cake so much. I had a lot of requests for it. So I'm going to make that chocolate pound cake today. And I was looking through my brother's cookbook, Uncle Bubba's seafood cookbook, and he had Aunt Jessie's cake recipe in his book that included the icing. So after we get this cake together, I'm going to share with y'all Aunt Jessie's recipe for the icing, and you can choose to ice or not ice. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is have to catch up on this. I'm going to sift together, and I'm just going to read off the measurements, y'all. It's 3 cups of all-purpose flour, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, 5 tablespoons of cocoa. And over here, we're going to have 2 sticks of softened butter, and we're going to have, I think this is like a half a cup, right, of a solid shortening. And the solid shortenings, that come in individual wrapped logs, I choose to use the butter flavor. Naturally, I know y'all are shocked, but you can get this with the butter flavor or the plain white solid shortening. I'm going to sift our dry ingredients together. And I'm going to start by...
this isn't total, but it's softer.
Yeah.
It's bendable.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I hate to do it anymore because it might
Oh,
melt.
no, you don't want it to melt. Let's see. Oh, that's much better, Teresa. See, it doesn't take but a second. And I feel like it's safer.
Was like just 7 seconds on your cross.
Yeah.
So
and
be very careful.
I feel like
look how clean it came out.
I know. That's because it wasn't over softened. But I feel like I'm safer softening my butter on defrost.
I agree.
Because the other's really high. All right, so in goes our salt, our baking powder, our baking soda, and when I get this down a little bit, I'm going to throw in our cocoa. So we've got our dry ingredients ready for us. We've got our buttermilk, and we've got our vanilla, and we've got our 5 eggs. So I'm just going to cream our butter for a minute. All right, and we're adding 3 cups of sugar. So this is a sweet pound cake, which, when you're making a chocolate pound cake, chocolate can be bitter. So that's why it's 3 cups of sugar instead of 2. So we're just going to beat this until it's fluffy and light, and then we're going to add our eggs one at a time. I've got this pretty light and fluffy. Now I'm just going to come in here with my spatula and push the sides down, make sure it continues to beat evenly. All right, so we're going to add our eggs now one at a time. Okay, I'm fixing to add the last egg. And these cords are so aggravating. So I'm going to press this down, the sides down one more time. And then, after I get this last egg beat in, we're going to add our flour and our buttermilk alternately. And we are going to start with flour and end with flour. And that's very, very important. I'm going to use my 1/3 of a cup scoop to start adding my flour. I'm adding the last of the buttermilk. Gonna whip that in. And now I'm ending with the last of my flour. Now I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of this wonderful homemade vanilla extract that was made with Tito's vodka. It smells incredible.
Is it safe to take these 2 things with?
Yes, it's safe. Wow. For somebody that doesn't like alcohol, the taste of alcohol, that vanilla flavoring just
It's the
sends
smell.
me to the moon. To the moon, Alice. So, you know, after you have worked to mix up a wonderful homemade pound cake, and not to even mention the money that you spend on ingredients, the worst thing that can happen is your cake not come out of the pan. I have had it happen. In fact, you can go find a video, I think, of a fig cake that half came out and half didn't. You remember that, Teresa?
I do. It was the fig cake, wasn't it, Eddie?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
fig cake. So,
It still was good.
oh, it was delicious. But I'm coming over here and I'm getting me a sheet of wax paper. You can buy this wax paper in sheets and it's so handy. So I'm gonna lay this down here and I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm just gonna go around. And you see it will make an imprint. So I'm just going to follow that little imprint around. If I can see it. All right. And then I'm going to take my paper and fold it twice. And then I'm going to come in here and hopefully I'll get this right the first time. Our scissors are almost like our knives, Eddie. Oh, all right. So this assures me that the bottom of my cake is coming out of that pan. So I'm just gonna put that down just like that. You can see how it fits in there. And then I like to use, this is about empty. I like to use the spray that also has flour in it, because you know when my mother used to make cakes, there was no such thing as
I don't think we have
well,
any.
we don't have any more. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Is there a step? Can I just step on one of these?
Yeah. Take your life in your own hands,
Well,
sister.
that's what I.
But Mama would take her solid shortening and go all around her pan and then put flour in it and, just shake that flour everywhere. To me, this is just so much easier. So I'm going to see what I can finish getting out of here. Okay, now I want to do it real good around the edges and around the edge of that tube. So we're going to bake this in a preheated oven at 325 degrees, and we're going to cook it anywhere from an hour and 15 minutes to like an hour and 30 minutes. I will be putting my timer on at an hour 15. Okay, y'all, I think I cooked our pound cake here for about very close to an hour and 15 minutes, but I cook in a commercial oven. So I'm always leery to tell y'all the time because there is a difference between a commercial oven and a home oven. So I would start looking at your cake after 1 hour. Just crack the door and touch it a little bit. And if it doesn't pop back, then it needs a little bit longer. So I'm going to flip this out so it can be cooling, because the faster it cools, you better come out. You better come out. You better come out. It almost acted like it didn't want to come away from the side, so that's why I always put that wax paper, because I know at least the bottom's going to come out. Okay, this is Aunt Jessie Ruth's complete recipe for the chocolate icing on her chocolate pound cake. And she used a half a stick of butter, or 4 tablespoons, however you would like to say that. One pound of confectionate sugar. I mean, this is simple. This is simple. So I used half this bag, so I'm saying that's a pound right there. I need some vanilla. And I'll put about a nice heaping teaspoonful of vanilla. 1/4 of a cup of cocoa powder. Somebody didn't break off that paper evenly. That somebody would have been me. 1/4 of a cup of cocoa. And Aunt Jessie used canned evaporated milk to thin hers, but it takes so little that I'm just going to do a little heavy cream, because you have to be careful. You don't want this too loose. If you did, then it would become like a glaze almost, rather than a frosting. So we're just gonna beat those together when they're smooth and completely mixed. It's going on that cake. Aunt Jessie's recipe actually called for 1/4 of a cup of canned carnation milk, evaporated milk. So it may wind up taking that, but I'm used to having cream cheese in my icings, so that may make a big difference as far as the looseness of it. Not having that wet cream cheese.
It's so much easier though to have to add more than to have to try to take away.
Oh honey, you can't take away. You can always add to. But me to try to pick that milk out of there, it would be so hard. But I think This is right. It's gonna wind up taking 1/4 of a cup. And if I had really thought it was gonna take that much, I would have opened a small can of evaporated milk. But you know, I didn't want to use a teaspoon and it go to waste. I'm gonna add a teaspoon or maybe a scant teaspoon, because almond flavoring it's potent. It's real impotent. Okay, I just love almond and chocolate. You know, I love those candy bars, those chocolate bars that's got the almonds in them. Ooh, so good. Okay. We're getting close. We're getting close, kitties. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to move this down. I don't think I'm tall enough to frost it that high up. Thank you, Eddie. I was just fixing to move that. Oops. To me, this is almost too pretty to cover up. This is a beautiful cake. Just gonna bring that down and run it around the center, because I don't want anybody to feel cheated when they get to that end and there's no chocolate icing on it. Okay, y'all. You can do this icing, you can put it on your cake smooth, or you can do it swirly. I happen to like it swirly. Teresa found me some nuts. So, oh, these are nice little teeny pieces of pecans, aren't they? Let's see. You want to?
Yeah, cut it.
Okay, let's see.
I can't let any icing go to waste.
No. You let that go to your WAIST.
Exactly.
So good. So good. I hope that y'all make it and enjoy it. Love and best dishes to everyone, y'all.
Hey y'all, it's Paula Deen. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it and click the subscribe button as well as the notification bell to be alerted when I post a video. Love and best dishes, y'all.